Joining us now, Mark Mahaney, Evercore Senior Managing Director of Internet Research. Mark, great to see you in person. We mentioned the Google 60%. Most of that move was in the second half of the year. So it's sort of an interesting dynamic here where it's no longer a top pick because of the recent run, but you still think it is firmly in the hold, in the buy camp, I should say.
It's a quality compounder. So we've had a stock that went from 15 times earnings to almost 30 times earnings in a 6-month period. You rarely ever see that. I think the real opportunity was it was so oversold. I'm not sure it's overbought. I don't think it is. I think it kind of hold its multiple. It's kind of at the high end of the Mag 7 in terms of the multiples. But I think it can hold it. And now it's a compounder, which means I think they can grow 20% a year. So the stock's got that sort of upside. It's not dramatic, but, you know, it's a name that you want to stick with because they've kind of proven everything they sort of needed to prove, which is that they're successful up and down the tech stack. What else could get much better about Google? I think that there's a chance for a re-acceleration in revenue at search, at YouTube. Waymo's still building out, and cloud's going to be north of 40%. I think that kind of growth next year. So I just like the fundamental setup in it. If you're a long-term investor, you stick with the Google.
How do you see Gemini 3? I mean, part of the upswing in Google shares is a perception that Gemini 3 is doing so much better. How does that play out into 2026 in terms of the trajectory? What do you see in terms of uptake and other monetization?
I think actually that's one of the risks to Google because this is going to go back and forth. And, you know, the ChatGPT 5.2 came out. I'm not sure it overwhelmed anybody, but, you know, the models get better and better. And so the idea that Gemini is going to be the leader of the large language model board for the next year is probably unlikely. There's going to be a lot of competition in the space, which is great for all of us. In the meantime, I think you're going to get a new ad model at some point, or you're just going to get an ad model coming out of ChatGPT. So there's going to be real competition coming after search dollars. We haven't seen it yet, but it's coming. So you got like 1 or 2 pending negative catalysts. I don't think it takes the stock down a lot. And if it did, it'd be a great opportunity to leg into Google stock.
Do you think, though, on the large language model front, that it's about the model itself at this point? Or I actually think the models are almost so good that there's an argument made it's about who productizes the models best and fastest. Meaning, and I've always thought that Google should be the winner of this by a long shot, given, you know, the proliferation of Gmail around the world and calendars and, by the way, Android phones, that if they could productize things that actually, you know, really texted you back and really gave you an email to return and really saw where you were going next and was able to sort of think through all the different permutations. But for whatever reason, they haven't gotten to that place. And then the question is, can an OpenAI, which doesn't necessarily have all that data, but maybe through APIs into all these other outlets or through an Outlook or Microsoft, can do all of those things?
Well, I think what you said, the first part is extremely important. If Google got the right model, if it got the leading model, it had more monetization opportunities than anybody else because it could roll its large language model. It can roll Gemini 3, which they did very quickly, into YouTube, into Gmail, into Google Works, into the search, into YouTube, into across all of their assets. So could they monetize it? Absolutely, they could. ChatGPT is not going to be able to monetize as well unless they build out those applications that have got 1 billion users here, 1 billion users there. That was always Google's advantage. The question is when would they really turn on the product? And it helps that you had a lot of great competition from ChatGPT for them to do it.
But I think the question long term is, are people going to go back and forth between a ChatGPT and a Gemini or some other service? Or do you think that you get sort of, because it's built into the product, that people then stay there? Or you could argue a flip side, which is the sort of persistent memory argument, which is right now ChatGPT has almost better persistent memory, knows you better, arguably, because knows you better in terms of like maybe how you write or think, but it doesn't know all the data about you unless it's, you know, porting in through APIs into other systems.
I would hope that people would kind of use both and maybe other large language models. I don't think there are going to be that many used in the future. I think we'll get some sort of consolidation here. 2 or 3, maybe 4 max large language models.
Does that mean that the whole business is commoditized? And therefore, then, is there the value prop? If you say to yourself, is ChatGPT or OpenAI worth $1 trillion? Is that possible?
Well, I guess if I felt like there were going to be 20 large language models, that would scream commoditization. If there's only going to be 3 or 4, that probably doesn't mean that. There'll be a couple. It's just that those large companies, the best models, are going to have a data personalization advantage at some point. And consumers are only going to reach out, and businesses are only going to reach out and use so many large language models. So I think there's kind of
where
there's
does
a natural
Apple get left
consolidation.
in all this then?